High in the untamed heart of China, Qingling Mountain pierced the sky. Its slopes, shrouded in mist and legend, were home to the ancient monastery of the Dragon's Spine. Here, for generations, monks dedicated their lives to the way. They honed their bodies into weapons, their spirits into unbreakable steel. Presiding over this ancient order was the Grand Master, a figure of immense power and impenetrable reserve. He was a living legend, whispered about but little understood. The Grand Master was as much a part of the mountain as the wind-sculpted pines and the soaring peaks. His presence was felt in every stone of the monastery, every echo in the training yard, yet he remained an enigma. His eyes, when they met yours, seemed to hold the weight of ages. They spoke of storms weathered and battles won in the depths of his soul. His past, like the mountain itself, was shrouded in mist. Whispers followed him like shadows. They spoke of loss, of years spent wandering the desolate edges of the empire. He had known suffering, that much was clear. It resonated in his silence, in the way he moved with the contained grace of a seasoned predator. The monks under his tutelage both revered and feared him. He was a master of his art, pushing his students to their limits and beyond. His methods were harsh, unforgiving, yet they produced warriors of unparalleled skill and unwavering discipline. No one knew the Grand Master's true name. He had shed it long ago, along with the remnants of his childhood. He was born into a world on the brink. The warlords waged their endless campaigns, leaving scars across the land. His village, nestled in a valley famed for its plum blossoms, was just another casualty. He saw his world consumed by flames. His family, his friends, vanished in the inferno. He was just a boy then, small and insignificant, yet he carried the weight of that memory like a stone in his gut. It fueled him, drove him to survive in a world that had shown him only cruelty. He became a shadow, flitting from one ruined town to the next. He scavenged for scraps, stole to stay alive. He learned to trust no one, to rely only on his own cunning and the growing strength in his young limbs. Years blurred into a relentless struggle for survival. He witnessed horrors that would make even the most hardened soldier blanch. He buried them deep within himself, adding another layer to the wall he was building around his heart. His wanderings led him to the foot of Qingling Mountain. He was a youth then, hardened by the fires of his past. The mountain, with its air of ancient wisdom and untamed power, called to something deep within him. It was here he encountered Master Jian, a hermit who lived in a secluded cave high on the mountainside. Master Jian was a legend in his own right. He was said to be one of the last practitioners of the dragon claw style, a martial art as swift and deadly as its namesake. He saw something in the hardened gaze of the young survivor, a spark of iron waiting to be forged. The training was brutal, relentless. Master Jian showed no mercy, pushing the boy to the edge of his physical and mental limits. He taught him not just the art of combat, but the way of the warrior. It was a path of discipline, of self-mastery, of confronting one's inner demons with unflinching resolve. The boy, tempered by suffering and forged in the crucible of Master Jian's tutelage, began to transform. He was no longer the scared child who had witnessed his world burn. He was becoming something else entirely. He was becoming the Grand Master. Years turned into decades. The boy, now a man, surpassed even Master Jian's expectations. He became a master of the dragon claw style, his movements a blur of controlled power. When Master Jian finally breathed his last, his withered hand clasped in the younger man's, there was a sense of completion. The mantle of responsibility fell upon the warrior's shoulders. He became the guardian of the Dragon's Spine Monastery. He took on the title of Grand Master, a title that felt both earned and burdensome. He trained a new generation of monks. He instilled in them the same discipline, the same ruthlessness that had been etched into his very being. Yet he remained haunted by his past, the echoes of screams in the night, the metallic tang of blood mingled with the scent of burning wood. He kept his distance from his students, his heart armored behind a wall of silence and stoicism, until Li Wei arrived. Li Wei, a young man with fire in his eyes and a hunger to learn that mirrored the Grand Master's own youthful fervor. Li Wei, who would unwittingly chip away at the Grand Master's defenses, forcing him to confront the ghosts he had kept at bay for so long. Li Wei was different from the other students. He possessed a raw talent, an untamed energy that reminded the Grand Master of his younger self. But Li Wei also carried a burden, a past shrouded in its own darkness. The Grand Master saw it in his eyes, the flicker of pain that mirrored his own. He pushed Li Wei harder than the others. He saw potential in the young man, but also a recklessness that needed to be tempered. Their interactions were intense, often bordering on violent. The Grand Master's corrections were swift and brutal. They left Li Wei bruised, battered, but unbroken. Li Wei craved the Grand Master's approval, but it seemed always out of reach. The older man was a fortress, his emotions hidden behind a mask of stone. He spoke in riddles, offering cryptic advice that left Li Wei more confused than enlightened.